Good evening and thank you so much for joining us on this live broadcast of the news on ZNBC TV2 at 18 hours. To present it, my name is Mutukwa Moya. The top stories. Property worth over $1 million United States has been destroyed in a fire that swept through the Copperbelt Energy Corporation CEC warehouse in Lusaka's New Kasama area. President Edgar Lungu says he will create a new ministry responsible for religious affairs. And in sports, government has congratulated Catherine Perry for retaining the World Boxing Council WBC Gold Bantamweight title. Thank you so much for joining us, and now the news in detail. Property worth over $1 million United States has been destroyed in a fire that swept through the Copperbelt Energy Corporation CEC warehouse in Lusaka's New Kasama area. The property is believed to be stock used for laying fiber optic cables. A TV2 news crew found the fire brigade putting out the inferno that had already spread to most of the yard of their warehouse. Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja was also found at the scene to establish the extent of the damage. CEC Liquid Telecom Chief Financial Officer Mwendamo Mazaba says the value of the stock is estimated to be between $1,005,000 United States. Mr. Mazaba has told TV2 News in an interview that the stock that has been destroyed was earmarked for distribution to various parts of the country where the company is laying fiber optic cables. And an eyewitness, a security guard, Davis Chappie, who was manning the warehouse, says the fire started around 10 hours today. Mr. Chappie noted that the fire is alleged to have started from the neighboring bushes and sprayed into the CEC yard. Meanwhile, Lusaka City Council Public Relations Manager Molonda Havenzu has cautioned members of the public to report fire breakouts early enough for the fire brigade to take action.
We found the fire brigade, part of the fire brigade team had already responded and they were trying to put out the fire. As you can see, quite a lot of our property has been destroyed. This is property that we use to lay optic fiber cables across the country.
Next defense ero wachirapi so ore pia nishinjapa so ndechitava fe na isako na pempurako na isako na pempurako so ichasa mkufika kuma 12 hours wasa ule palamina defense no mbo.
In instances where there is a fire, the most important thing is that they need to inform the fire brigade first. Before they do anything, they should not even try to start fighting that fire on their own, especially the fires that are quite big. Let them inform fire brigade so that we get there in time.
Police in Lusaka have apprehended a 34-year-old woman of Lusaka's Ngombe compound for attempting to steal 2 children. Tasha Chama allegedly lured the 2 girls aged 7 and 8 into a motor vehicle and took them to a known destination. Police spokesperson Reha Monga says the incident happened yesterday around 12 hours. Mr. Monga says after launching investigations, police, however, managed to retrieve the children who have since reunited with their family. He further explained that after apprehending Chama and putting her in custody, she attempted to commit suicide by swallowing a broken bottle, but police quickly rushed her to Levi Mwanawasa Hospital. Mr. Amonga says she was later discharged and detained at Ngombe Police Post. He says the suspect will appear in court soon. President Edgar Lungu says he will create a new ministry responsible for religious affairs. President Lungu says his new cabinet will have a ministry of religious affairs in order to affirm Zambia's declaration of being a Christian nation. The president said this when he officiated at St. Andrew's United Church of Zambia, UCZ Church, today. This was at the reception service of Reverend Bishop Sidney Sichilima, who is also Synod Bishop for the United Church of Zambia. Details in this report.
President Edgar Lungu was among congregants who gathered at St. Andrew's United Church of Zambia in Lusaka for the reception service of UCZ Synod, Reverend Bishop Sidney Sichilima. The president used this opportunity to announce that Zambia will have a new ministry.
And let me also announce here that I'm going to form a ministry responsible for religion in Zambia. I don't know how we call it, and it's not an afterthought, but I've been thinking through. We need to translate the belief that we're a Christian nation in the Constitution into a reality, so that we interface with the state openly and courageously without fearing anything. Because right now you have to get to State House or to Mr. Amos Chanda to get access to State House. But we have a standalone ministry responsible for religion, whether we call it Ministry for Christianity or Ministry for Religion or Spiritual or National Guidance. I think this is coming. What we are waiting for is to clear this hurdle of Constitution Court. Once it's done, and I would like to believe it will be done sooner than later, this ministry is coming.
President Lungu also used the opportunity to speak against tribalism and violence.
It is those who don't have Christ in their hearts. It's those who don't have the love of Christ who resort to violence before, during, and after. So what is happening is throwing the challenge back to us. Why is it that when we meet in church we don't talk about tribe? Why is it that when we meet at a football match we don't talk about tribe? Why is it that when we meet elsewhere, including in social places, we don't talk about tribe? But it's only in politics. Only when you answer to my call and give us your children, your sons and daughters, your leaders, to take part in politics, will there be sanity in the political arena? So that challenge is still there.
UCZ General Secretary Reverend Dr. Peggy Kawonde congratulated President Lungu for his re-election as head of state.
I'm never delighted that on your part you have continued providing leadership in calling for peace and unity in our great nation. As the body of Christ, we continue praying for your good health as you preside over the affairs of this great nation and over the lives of more than 13 or 14 million Zambians.
The newly elected leader of the UCZ in Zambia also spoke at the event.
If as the United Church of Zambia, we can remain more united as the name of our church, I believe that would facilitate so much. It will help in bringing healing in our beloved nation, Zambia, where in some circles we seem to hate and divide each other.
President Lungu has emphasized on the need for the church to continue preaching peace and unity. He says political leaders can take a leaf from the church and avoid inciting violence in the country. Ingutu Mwanza, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
Now, the Zambia Correctional Service says there is need to empower inmates with survival skills for use in society. Service Commissioner General PERCY CHATO says this is being done through the introduction of skills vocational training, among others. He said this during the International Prisons Day in Lusaka. Speaking at the same function, Good Shepherd Parish Priest, Father ADELARDE MUNISH, urged society to accept inmates when they are released from jail. More in this report.
Township have held a special mass. The church has invited inmates from Lusaka Central Prison, popularly known as Chimbokaira. The mass is part of the celebrations for the International Prisons Day. The Zambia Correctional Services Command, led by PERCY CHATO, was also in attendance. The congregants at Good Shepherd Parish in Kabwata used the occasion to donate assorted items to inmates at Lusaka Central Prison. Speaking during Mass, Parish Priest Father ADELARDE MUNISH challenged society to always remember those that are in prison.
The prisoners are our brothers and sisters. It's unfortunate that there have been conflicts with the law. Now, we cannot deny them because they are in prison. they are our brothers and sisters. The fact that they are incarcerated in prison does not remove that brotherhood and sisterhood we have with them. And as a society, we have an obligation to take care of our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated in prison to supplement the effort of the government. The government is doing its part.
And speaking at the same function, Zambia Correctional Services Commissioner General PERCY CHATO challenged churches to come on board and open fellowships in prisons. Mr. CHATO also said the service is working out various measures to empower the inmates.
The church is a partner in the growth and development of prisons and penal institutions that evolve worldwide to a state where the church advocates for the positive treatment of those who are incarcerated. In order to address the rehabilitation and integration model, there is need to change society's perception of inmates by removing the criminal tag associated with the criminal records.
The move by the Catholic Church in Kabwata constituency to donate to inmates at Lusaka Central Prison should be emulated by other stakeholders such as churches. Hector Simfukwe, TV2 News in Lusaka.
Northwestern Province Permanent Secretary Ephraim Mateo says traditional ceremonies and culture are key in the promotion of peace and unity in the country. Mr. Mateo has noted that traditional ceremonies are a part of cultural heritage as they promote tourism and socio-economic value to the country. He was speaking when he officiated at this year's Likumbi Lyamize traditional ceremony for the Luvale-speaking people of Zambezi district of Northwestern Province. Meanwhile, Mr. Mateo says government endeavors to complete all ongoing projects and embark on new ones in the district. And speaking at the same occasion, Likumbi Lyamize National Chairperson Gideon Kaumba said this year's ceremony marks 56 years since it was first celebrated in 1966. Mr. Kaumba added that cultural heritage can greatly contribute to employment of the youth in the country if taken seriously.
Let's contribute to embrace traditional ceremonies not only for the preservation of our culture heritage, but also as a form of social economic value to our country, as they promote tourism, job creation, and market for local products. The Likumbi Lyamize traditional ceremony is not only significant to the Luvale people or Zambia as a nation only, but is recognized world over as evidence by the recognition by UNESCO.
This year's Likumbi Lyamize traditional ceremony marks its 60th anniversary since it was first celebrated in the year 1956. It is therefore one of the eldest ceremonies in the country. Cultural heritage can greatly contribute to creating employment opportunities for our youth in this country and thereby reduce the high unemployment levels the country is currently facing.
Elsewhere, the National Ex-Miners and Allied Workers Association of Zambia says the formation of the Ex-Miners Resources Limited, a company poised to benefit from major capital projects, will create hundreds of jobs for miners who were recently retrenched on the Copper Belt. Association President Taulo Chawe says the registration of the firm follows President Edgar Lungu's call for former miners to form a company to benefit 20% from all major and capital projects. Mr. Chewe says the company is expected to benefit from, among other projects, the Copperbelt C400 roadworks, the upgrading of the Kafubu Water and Storage Company network system, and the construction of the new Greenfields International Airport in Ndola. He said his association is eager to undertake various projects in order to create jobs for the ex-miners and also contribute to the national development. Mr. Chewe was speaking in an interview with ZNBC News in Kitwe today. You're still watching TV2 News at 18 hours. Just now we take our first break, but stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to the news. ZESCO says feasibility studies for the construction of the 1,200 megawatts power plant on the Luapula River in Luapula province will start in November. Spokesperson Henry Kapata says a technical consultant will be engaged to carry out the feasibility studies for the project that will take 18 months. Mr. Kapata told TV2 News that once complete, the project will help reduce the current power deficit in Katanga and Luapula provinces. Mr. Kapata says this plant will contribute to the increased Southern Africa power-to-energy market capacity. He noted that the power project will be located between Katanga province in the DRC and Luapula province in Zambia.
Basically, this is the Luapula River, where we are looking forward as ZESCO Limited for the future huge plans of constructing a 1,200 megawatts power plant in collaboration with our neighbors here. Just next door here is Katanga province, but of course it's the Congo DR. And so ZESCO Limited has already signed the memorandum of understanding with the SMER of Congo DR. And of course we are looking forward to one of the big issues that has to take place. And that is the technical consultant engagement that has already taken place, meaning that come November, there will be some 18 months period of visibility study with regards to the possible site for the construction of the 1,200 megawatts power plant here. That will bring reliability of power supply in Luapula province, the surrounding areas, and of course with our neighbors right here in Katanga province of the Congo DR. Remember that this is one project that was started by the government of the Republic of Zambia way back in 1976. That's when investigations were done. And so we are looking forward to the coming on board of this particular huge project. That's the 1,200.
The project was initially started by government in 1976, where 5 sites were identified. Now, Eden Institute has signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with the Copperbelt University CBU, aimed at providing educational collaboration services. The MOU also seeks to strengthen the relationship between the two institutions in order to provide valuable academic relations. Institute Executive Director KELVIN says the institution was inspired to sign the MOU with CBU because of the rich profile that CBU has in providing quality education. Mr. Kaunda says he is hopeful that the partnership will yield results and that the partnership will cushion the human resource deficit in the country.
The collaboration between the two institutions in terms of service delivery. Other than that, it might interest you to know that we have partnered basically with 2 schools. The first one being the School of Medicine and the other one being the Directorate of Distance Education. What this means is that we'll be able to undertake joint program, including research programs, if both parties consider that to be appropriate. Also that the Copperbelt University will be able to underwrite some of our program in the School of Medicine as well as in the department in the Directorate of Distance Education.
In other news, MMD leader Felix Mutati says there is need to revive the Nakala corridor. Mr. Mutati says it is high time the governments of Zambia, Malawi and Mozambique operationalized the growth triangle. He told ZNBC News in an interview that the growth triangle has the potential to create jobs in the 3 countries. Mr. Mutati said the 3 countries have a lot to benefit from the underlying potential of the Nakala corridor. And Mr. Mutati says he is equally happy that the traditional leaders have taken interest to stop politically motivated attacks. Mr. Mutati says traditional leaders should continue using gatherings such as traditional ceremonies to preach unity and coexistence among various groupings in their chiefdoms. After our final break, join us for news from beyond our borders, as well as the latest in the world of sport. Keep watching TV2. And now the rest of the news. We start with foreign news. At least 25 people have been killed as Turkey continues to target Kurdish-held areas in Syria near the border city of Jarablus. The Turkish military said those killed in Sunday's airstrikes were Kurdish militants. Separately, a monitoring group said at least 35 civilians and 4 militants were killed by a wave of Turkish strikes in the same area. It is not yet clear whether the two reports relate to the same incident. And now in sports, government has congratulated Catherine Piri for retaining the World Boxing Council WBC Gold Bantamweight title. Sports Permanent Secretary Agnes Musunga says Catherine's win is an achievement for not only the boxer but the entire country. Musunga says Catherine, as a female boxer, is breaking gender barriers in sports. She has urged the young boxer to remain focused. Musunga also called on the youth in the country to emulate Catherine and take sports seriously, especially women. She further thanked boxing promoters, Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotions, for their consistent role in the promotion of the sport and complimenting government's efforts to improve sport countrywide. Meanwhile, boxing fans in Lusaka have praised Catherine on her win over South African Gebisile Shabalala via a technical knockout.
Absolutely unexpected. For a boxer that came to challenge for a belt at this level, you'd have expected a bit.
And what time, 1 minute 12 seconds. That 3 entertaining abantu. So therefore I can next time. Valorira ko at least it around 6 and 7 so that abantu bachita enjoy abantu. Not
yeah, but I did start disappointed because I'm a minister to them and such a person. To at least to expect quality Cocolako, Kairi in champion and over expect South Africa. So to never disappointed son. But otherwise Muntu is when I get in the so I pekanya favor no win start.
Awe Catherine Piri heavy fighter there chemusha bali muntu wana muletera is not a boxer. Si boxer.
Here's a recap of the headlines as we end the 18 hours news. Property worth over $1 million United States has been destroyed in a fire that swept through the Copperbelt Energy Corporation CEC warehouse in Lusaka's New Kasama area. The property is believed to be stock used for laying fiber optic cables. President Edgar Lungu says he will create a new ministry responsible for religious affairs. President Lungu says his new cabinet will have a Ministry of Religious Affairs in order to affirm Zambia's declaration of being a Christian nation. And in sports, government has congratulated Catherine Piri for retaining the World Boxing Council WBC Gold Bantamweight title. Sports Permanent Secretary Agnes Musunga says Catherine's win is an achievement for not only the boxer but the entire country. Stay tuned for more news at 20 hours right here on the Pulse of Television Channel TV2. This is Mutuko Moya. Good evening.